Hi everyone, it's Nichol Spohr and welcome back to my channel. Today I am sharing how I swatch my inks in my collection, specifically the Simon Says stamp Pawsitively saturated inks, and then I do have a bonus project for you at the end of this video where I'm going to be using all of the colorful inks, just minus browns and grays, and we're going to be creating this canvas. So some wall art for either your craft studio or for anywhere really, but I created mine for my craft studio. We are going to start with, I'm going to use my Mini Misty, and then these are ink swatches from Simon Says stamp, and I'm going to grab these. You'll notice that they have little lines in each of the sections. Now these have been out for several years and I have talked about these several times. I showed these in a recent live. I would like to say maybe 8-9 years ago, if I'm not mistaken. I did create several swatches like this, and then I tried to do like the binder version, and I found the binder version does not work for me. I never open up my binder. So I know I talked about this in a recent live if you were here. This works for me, and I really like it because I can easily flip through my ring and see what colors look really nice together. There are 60 colors of Simon Says stamp Pawsitively saturated inks. I absolutely love these inks. And what I chose to do, there's actually 4 different swatch stamps in this little swatch stamp set from Simon Says stamp. You can also just pick another kind of, I would probably pick like a solid image or something to use. You don't have to use this if you don't have it. But I simply pick 3 of them so I can kind of see it in the solid and then a couple of different patterns. And it's easy to just line them up in your Misty. And then I simply stamp them and I clean them in between each, and you can handwrite the color, the brand, the color down along the bottom. I've also swatched my Hero Arts reactive inks, and I'm going to be swatching all of the new colors when I get them as well, just like this. Mostly I'm sticking to swatching the inks that I use the most. So right now I have all of my Simon inks done. I will be swatching Distress, Pink Fresh Studio, and Lawn Fawn next. I like having them. It really gives you a fantastic way to see what you have and also pick colors. A lot of times the color does not look like the color of the case, I've found. Now I am of course using my Brother P-Touch label maker to make a label for the bottom of mine. I, if at all possible, do not handwrite anything. It isn't that I have like the worst handwriting, I just really like the streamlined look of label makers. Please tell me in the comments if you're like me and like everything labeled. I know some people aren't. I'm probably a little excess that way, but I truly do love all of my stuff labeled. Now I am showing you this in real time. I'm going to speed it up to go through a few more. I'm not going to swatch all of them on camera because you guys are going to get bored. I'm going to get bored, but I did want to show you just doing a few of these. Now you'll notice I am swatching here on camera today any of the newest colors from the latest release. So that's what I'm going to swatch here on camera, but I did swatch all 60 colors. Literally, I love my binder ring. That's what I keep them on, full of beautiful inks. It is really my favorite way to have ink swatches. I'm not a huge swatcher of all things. I thought I would be at first, and it really just isn't something I want to spend time on. But for inks, I find it extraordinarily helpful to be able to just kind of look at them at a glance, take them easily off a ring, hold different colors up to see what I want to use together. Because while these inks do come in trios of color, well, you can purchase them in trios or individually. A lot of times different inks will work together. Let's say you want to do a really fun blend. Let's say blues and purples for winter. Or how about some yellows and oranges for a summer scene, or a really fun fall background where you want to incorporate maybe some purples and oranges or purples and yellows, whatever the case may be for Halloween. You guys, there are so many different ways to ink blend, even with these inks. It doesn't always have to be a distress oxide or something like that. I need to see the ink. I need to see what color it is so that when I go to choose, I'm not choosing wrong. I don't know about you, but I have chosen wrong many, many times. So here is the lilac, amethyst, and I believe iris are the colors. And you can see I'm just taking my little label swatch, and that's going to go in the bottom section. So the top 3 sections are for the stamped image. The solid, stripe, and polka dot are the ones I picked. I think the other one's like a flourish, which is not something I stamp a lot of. So I kind of stuck with my old standard reliables. I'm a polka dot and stripe kind of girl. And then of course the solid gives you such a good idea of what that's going to look like. Okay, I was totally wrong. It's lilac, orchid, and amethyst is this first color combination. Iris is in the other one. We'll see it in a bit. And keep in mind, as the ink dries and is absorbed into the cardstock, the colors will tend to smooth out when I show you my ring here in a little bit. And then when I show you the start of working on the butterfly canvas project, you will really see how they look after they've sat a while, because I swatched these many weeks before I actually filmed the canvas project. So just really fantastic to work with. And I did drop timestamps into the description box. So if you are interested in swatching and you want to go right on to a fun canvas project, I know I have not shared a project in a hot minute, you can do that. Or if you need to come back at another time and you want to skip to that part of the video, I'm going to try to start adding timestamps into videos that have like multiple projects in them, just to make it easy to kind of maybe move to the section of the video that you want. I've been doing that in my floss tube videos, and everyone seems to really like that. I do recommend when you're doing this that it's great to just spend, I think maybe I spent, I want to say an hour and 20 minutes. I think that's all it took. And I actually swatched every single ink color all at once. So while I'm only showing you the new colors here on camera, I swatched everything in that time because I already had it set up in my MISTI. I had it very assembly line, just boom, 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 knocking it out. It may have taken a little longer than that. Maybe it was an hour and 45 minutes. I meant to write it down and I didn't. Here is that iris color that I was trying to call the darkest purple in the last one, but it's not. And if you don't get a good stamped impression the first time, don't be afraid to ink it back up or press it again. You can see here that I don't really like the polka dot and the stripe very well, so I'm just kind of tapping a little more ink on those areas, and that looks much, much better. So now I am going to speed up the video. I've showed you kind of real-time stamping of 6 of the ink colors, and I'm just going to kind of fast forward through the rest of the brand new colors. That's going to include a blue color combination, a taupe color combination, as well as a gray. I know purples were very, very highly requested, and even this blue color combination I think looks really nice with the purples. It's kind of that great transition into purple, and so it's really nice that Simon came out with 2 new purple color combos for us, and then the grays. The grays were really highly requested as well. I love these blues though. Absolutely stunning. Of course, I am a sucker for blue ink. I always like blues. Tell me in the comments what your favorite ink colors are, what you tend to gravitate towards. Now we're going to move on to some taupes. And again, I am simply making sure and cleaning my stamps really well in between color changes. I have a little Simon Says stamp cleaner there with a microfiber cloth, and I'm cleaning it, and I'm being very particular about making sure I am getting my stamps super clean, super dry before moving on to the next color. I would love to know also in the comments if you ink swatch, why or why not, or if this is something that is interesting to you. I know this was very highly requested. I showed the swatches a while back when this release came out, and I've been asked multiple times especially like in live chats, like live videos and things, when this video was coming, and so I thought I'll just put it out. I had held off just a little bit at the time because I believe the swatches, the swatch stamps, I think, maybe were out of stock. They might still be. But like I said, you definitely don't have to do it with exactly these same products. I think the little swatch strips are great with whatever. You could stamp like a heart, little solid heart in that section, or anything. Truly anything. And now we're just moving on to my grays. And then when I have everything swatched and labeled, something else to note, and I'm doing a lot of that part off of camera, is I am making the labels on my P-Touch label maker. I am doing about 3 colors at a time, and then creating the labels and putting them right on each swatch tag so that I don't accidentally mix them up, which can be very easy to do when you are working with multiple inks at one time. And I actually have trays that fit in my IKEA Alex drawers where my inks go, and that is where I keep them. So here is that binder ring I was talking about. I keep mine in rainbow color, of course. And you simply just slip them on to the little binder rings. I picked these particular binder rings up at Amazon, but you can get them anywhere. I also think that, I can't think of the exact name off the top of my head, of course, but Tim Holtz has like a binder product. It's not exactly a hard ring like this, but I think you could keep your swatches. I think Tim keeps tags and things on his. I think those would work really amazing as well. And there you can see all of the newest colors from Simon Says Stamp as of June 2022. That is the newest colors that round out all 60 of the Pawsitively saturated inks so far. Just beautiful colors. I can't say enough about them. So I snapped my fingers being silly because here's all of them. Here are all the colors. I went ahead and finished all of it. And look how beautiful these look. That is all of the Simon Says Stamp Pawsitively saturated ink colors swatched up. I love it. Now let's make a project, shall we? One of my favorite new products from the latest release, in addition to the new ink colors, is the Graceful Butterfly embossing folder and die set. So these are 3D embossing folders. I did go ahead and die cut mine off camera. Now this particular embossing folder is going to die cut a lot of different butterflies. I'm using the open facing butterflies for my project, not the side facing ones. And when I die cut these, I spritzed, or lightly misted is a better word, my 110-pound weight Nina cardstock with a mini mister with a little water before embossing them. I know I've said several times when I have demonstrated the 3D embossing folders before, I don't always mist my cardstock. I decided for this I wanted to make sure that the impression was really, really good, and sometimes misting your cardstock first helps. And so I did mist my cardstock for the butterflies. I think I only used 3 of the largest open facing butterfly, and then multiples of the medium and small. We're going to start with a little mini, and I am going to be doing these in rainbow order for my canvas. Now I didn't do my canvas on camera because I sprayed it with Distress Oxide Spray, Salvaged Patina Distress Oxide Spray, outdoors, so I didn't make a mess in the house. The canvas size, of course, I can't remember what it is. I will measure it really fast for you guys so that I can tell you exactly. Yes, it's 10 by 10 square. It's a canvas I got at Hobby Lobby. I sprayed it with Salvage Patina. I let it sit for a little bit, and then I took a cloth and I just kind of swiped and wiped the ink. I didn't spray it for full coverage. I just kind of sprayed it and I wiped it in so it was very light. It has some little dark spots in it when you really look up close from the spray, but the rest is just kind of a nice blend. You could also use paint. And then I'm taking all 3 colors in each trio from the Positively Saturated ink, and I'm applying those colors to the butterflies. And the raised part of these 3D embossed images are going to hold onto that color nicely. Now, another fantastic tool for adding color to these are the new detail blending brushes from Simon Says Stamp. I'm using that little small round. I'm also using the angled one right here to kind of pull the darkest color from the center of the butterfly. And that's going to add really, really nice detail to each of our butterflies. I am working on the waffle flower stencil mat today, and mine is super stained, as you can see, but it does protect your work surface and it's super easy to clean up. And again, the ink is going to kind of dry and smooth out as it dries into each of these die cut butterflies. So we started with our dark purple, and then I'm going to do the next color of purple. And I'm just, here is my canvas background as it is so far. And at this point, all I did was add the Salvage Patina Distress Oxide ink. But I will tell you that also off camera, because I went outside to do it so I wouldn't make a mess with this either, I used some white gouache and splattered the background. So when you see the finished photos of my canvas, that background that has the white splatter on it is some white gouache, like I do on my cards, but with such a big surface, I really did not want to make a huge mess in my house. So I did it outside and I didn't film it. Much like how I did the ink swatches, I am doing a couple of these butterfly shadings in real time, and then I'm going to speed the video up quite a bit so we're not sitting here all day, because I did do a couple other really fun things to the butterflies that I want to share with you. If you have created some canvas wall art using your card making or paper crafting supplies, let me know in the comments. It has been a while. I made a large canvas years and years ago, probably at least 10 plus years ago. And I really haven't done a whole lot of that in a while. And this has been on my mind or on my heart for just a little bit now. I've known I wanted to, and I was kind of waiting for the rest of the ink colors and the Positively Saturated inks to come in or be available so that I could share this, and I'm super excited. I've really been working on finishing decorating my craft studio and getting some stuff on the walls, because I literally just have supplies in here and organized, and I don't really have any art. I do have a few fun things from friends and stuff, but I want to get it all organized so that it's super inspiring and fun to look at. And again, with this next purple color combination, I did the same thing, light, medium, and dark, using those really teeny tiny blending brushes from Simon Says Stamp. Another good option would be the detail shader brushes from Waffle Flower. Now, I am going to speed up a lot. This did not go quite this fast in real time, but I wanted to share the coloring of all the butterflies so you can really see the difference with the small, between the tiny, medium and large. But at the same time, I don't want to try to sit here for an hour and a half with you guys with nothing to say and watching it just slowly take shape. So we will speed it up. Gosh, these colors are pretty. In between color changes, if I am using the same brush, so for the dark blue color combination and then moving to the royal blue color combination, same brushes are used. I have got this question a lot. Are you using the same brushes? Yes, but I take a microfiber cloth, or you could take even a paper towel or something, or a scrap piece of paper. I wipe away as much ink as I possibly can get off of the blending brush before moving to that next color combination. And of course, we're moving on to our teal with Seafoam, Surf, and Ocean. And that just these little brushes, oh, you guys, they make detail, blending, and shading such a snap. I moved my trays from my IKEA Alex drawers over, so the trays hold 9 inks each, and I just moved them over, and then I would work through each of the ink color combination before moving on to the next. Oh, and I love, love, love the sage and pine and aspen colors. These deep green colors are so pretty. That's going to be one of the big butterflies. And then this little guy, I think maybe this is Sprout Field or Sprout Fairway and Field. Then we'll have Celery and Limeade and Perfection for this butterfly. Had to think about the names. And they're beautiful like this, but I knew as I was working, I wanted to do something special for the butterflies. And at this point, I had not splattered my background canvas, and I almost thought, do I want to adhere my butterflies to the canvas and splatter them? And then I was like, no, not really. I want something different. I want something slightly more quote unquote controlled, although when you see what we're doing, you probably won't think so, but I ultimately decided to splatter the background, and then we are going to add some foundry wax, Gilded Foundry Wax, to our butterflies, and it literally might be my favorite thing about this entire project. I totally love it. We're only about halfway maybe through the colors for all of the butterflies here. But I love watching them come to life. Now, I wanted to give you guys a tip too for this butterfly embossing folder. I did notice that I thought a couple of my butterflies weren't quite as crisp and detailed embossed after I die cut them. I embossed the cardstock first and then I die cut them. I actually just took my butterfly, some inked, some before I inked them, and lined them back up in the embossing folder and ran it back through my die cutting machine. If you get it lined up perfectly, you can do that. And I think it deepens the design so nicely. So I think in a live a couple of weeks ago, someone asked if you could, and I said I hadn't tried it, but now I have, and that does work well. I don't know if it will work for every 3D embossing folder, but for the butterflies, I found it worked exceptionally well, because one of my butterflies wasn't exactly straight, and I ended up not even re-die cutting it or anything. I lined it back up and ran it through again and embossed it correctly. It'll actually be the little bubblegum sweets and taffy, like one of the last butterflies we ink. We're on oranges now, so we only have like some reds and pinks left. And the dogs are making some interesting noises here. This is the butterfly I ran back through. See how the detail on it isn't super great? As I'm adding like the pucker, this is Cheeky Blush and Pucker, I felt like it just didn't show up great. In fact, I was sort of disappointed after I inked it. So that's the one of them that I ran back through the die cutting machine. And then the other one is the butterfly that I didn't die cut quite correctly. That was user error. Oh, I love that deep dark cherry in the center. So pretty. And remember, even if it looks a little harsh, the colors do tend to blend, fade, absorb into the cardstock. Not fade necessarily. Smooth. Thank you. There we go. Smooth out a little bit, which I think looks a little nicer. All right. So we got our pinks. Ooh, so pretty. And then my final little butterfly. In fact, there was a little bit of blue on the edge of the wing, but I just went with it. That butterfly wasn't embossed correctly, you guys, and I put it back through and it embossed perfectly. And I didn't have to go with a whole new die cut. So give it a try. I always say just try it. Let's zoom out. Look how pretty this is. But it isn't quite what I want. So I am loving the Tim Holtz Gilded Foundry Wax for adding gilding or that little bit of distressing gilded look to cards and things. I've done a lot of splatter. Oh, there's my background with the white splatter, white gouache splatter on it. So I have a little bit of the Gilded Foundry Wax. I'm just putting it on an acrylic block, and I'm using the tip of my finger and I'm just gently swiping it on to some of the raised areas of the butterfly. Not super specific. Don't be afraid if it's not, you know, doesn't look super great going on. The results, you guys, are amazing. I highly recommend using tweezers. Don't be me. You can see partway through, I was like, oh my goodness, don't be dumb. And then I'm simply going to heat that, and the foundry wax gives gilding to our butterflies. It is amazing. I'm going to do this for all of the butterflies. I did leave this sped up because it did take a minute. I think it took like maybe, I want to say, I think original time was about 16 minutes or so, just to add that little bit to all of these. When you're using the foundry wax, you want to make sure that you shake up the bottle and until you hear that little metal ball inside shaking around so that the product is shook up really, really well before you squeeze it out on your work surface. And then cleaning my acrylic block kind of was the pits, to be honest. It didn't want to come off really well. I used some stamp cleaner and that did end up getting it all off, but it was kind of the pits. I think next time I'll use a paper plate or something I can throw away. I did want to mention that, and the product dries really fast. So you're going to notice periodically I'm going to put a little bit more product out on my acrylic block because what is on there is already dry. And heats, you can probably leave it. I guess I don't know if you can or not. I would definitely recommend heat setting it, even if you're swiping it on with like maybe a paintbrush for a little bit thinner layer or whatever. I would definitely heat set it because it will smear if you touch it. I think in order to have it be set, you must heat it up. At least that's what I have always done and had fantastic results with. You'll notice you can only see a few of them on the screen, but don't they look gorgeous? I literally, this is my favorite part of the entire project. And it was kind of a last minute decision. I knew I wanted to add ink blending to all these butterflies and make a canvas, but I hadn't really thought much past that. And I think this step makes the project. Now in the butterfly embossing folder set, there is bodies for the butterflies. There's 2 open face bodies, and then there is 2 side facing bodies, pardon me. And I am going to die cut all of mine from Lawn Fawn Storm Cloud cardstock, which is a dark gray. I didn't want black. I felt like that was a little too harsh. So I'm going to do a dark gray. And I think the butterfly bodies are too big for the smallest butterfly. So I'm not going to add that to the smallest butterfly, which is almost okay with me. I kind of like not having a body on every single butterfly. This is a lot of butterflies. And so instead, we're actually going to add some little heart accents, which I will show you here in a bit as well. Tweezers for the win, as always. Is there anything more used in my craft stash than the reverse tweezers? I don't think so. I use them every single time I craft. And again, I'm always just using the tip of my finger to kind of gently apply that foundry wax and hopefully get it mostly on the raised areas. I love the imperfection of it. I like how it's not exact on all of them. I kind of got a little more than I wanted on this one, but it ends up being perfect. And watching it heat up and the gilding, so pretty. So, so pretty. If you haven't tried the foundry wax, I highly recommend it. I had no idea how much I would love it, and it's quickly become like one of my favorite things to add to carts. Or in this case, a canvas art project. So just a couple more butterflies to do. When I was contemplating how I wanted to put together my canvas, I thought about using liquid adhesive, but ultimately I just decided to use hot glue. It was a little quicker because it's going to dry quicker. Maybe like an E6000 glue would work as well. I'm not sure. I didn't want to use like any of the liquid glues I had in my stash because they don't dry very fast, and I didn't want the butterflies to fall off. I am only going to be putting adhesive underneath the body of the butterfly, not the wings. I want the wings, because this is a kind of a 3D canvas type of project, I want the wings to be up and have that movement. Okay, we are ready now to put it all together. That's going to be, first I'm going to take all of the butterflies and I am going to add the bodies, or all of the medium and large butterflies, and I am going to glue, and I did use barely liquid glue. I'm going to glue the body to the butterfly. So I just held the butterfly with tweezers, put a little line of glue in the body, and then put a little line of glue on the butterfly and stuck the body down in the middle. And I did this very assembly line style because I had laid out my butterflies and I really liked the order I had them in. And so I just was kind of trying to keep it close to that. So when it came to putting my canvas together, it made it a little bit easier. Look how gorgeous these butterflies are. Simon Says stamp, Pawsitively saturated ink, and a little Tim Holtz Gilded Foundry Wax. Oh my goodness. So, so pretty. And I'm going to start in the upper left corner of my canvas, and I'm going to start adhering my butterflies. Now, again, I did have the benefit of I had laid them out beforehand, and I did have a pretty good idea where I wanted them to go. My hot glue gun does have a pretty tiny nozzle tip, which helps because I only want a little bit of glue. I'm going to play around, you can see, with my butterflies a bit, and I'm holding them with tweezers before placing them down on the canvas. And I'm making sure to fold up the wings and only put glue underneath the body before placing the body down. And that's going to give so much movement to each of our butterflies. And I'm working from some purples, blues, and now we're starting to move into greens. And I tried to keep kind of smaller at the beginning and the end of our butterfly trail, but I'm also mixing in quite a few smaller butterflies into the bigger ones. I tried to divide out my biggest butterflies so that they're not all right next to each other, and just kind of mixing in. So when I went to start inking up my butterflies, you'll notice when I started the project, I had already laid the butterflies out how I thought they looked nice with a nice mix of sizes. And from there, then I started inking. Now, as I get down here towards the bottom, I do want to kind of take a second before I start gluing too much down, lay out the remaining few butterflies. You'll see I make some design changes a little bit in the order. And then before I continue gluing down, let's say the yellow or oranges, I did go ahead and put my last big butterfly, that red butterfly, and then I can kind of mix in these others. Now, I hadn't realized at this point, I actually forgot to glue down one of the purple ones. So when I tilt my canvas after I think I have everything glued down, he moves and I was like, oh no. So I have to glue him down real quick. How pretty is this? I cannot wait to display this. I need to get like a little easel, I think, from the craft store to put this up on my shelf, or I may hang it. I haven't decided yet. I have a couple other little projects I'm working on to hang, including something I hope works out to display any of my enamel pins from Lawn Fawn and Simon Says Stamp, and then some needle minders that I have from Cross Stitch. And there went my purple butterfly. I was like, oh no! So let's glue him down real quick. Okay, I love how this looks, but like I said, the smallest butterfly doesn't have bodies to it. Well, you guys know what I have to add. Of course, I have to add hearts. This is one of my projects after all. If you guys didn't guess it already, I'm sure you probably did. You probably were thinking this whole time, where's the heart? Well, I did add some little hearts to the bodies of the butterflies. These are some Lucy's Little Things hearts I'm using right now. I think these are all kind of more of the translucent design, and I am simply going to pop them into the bodies of the butterfly, and I did color coordinate them, but clear I think would also have worked, and I do have clear, but as always, I joke about this. I joke about this with my Patreon members. I tend to be extra, and so I have all these colors. I went ahead and used them. I don't always get a ton of opportunity to use all of the different colors, and so I thought this was kind of fun. And I'm going to fill the butterfly bodies first, and then I'm going to add a few additional light blue hearts scattered right on the canvas. And I am using liquid adhesive for these. I'm using my embellishment wand to kind of move them into place. So you'll notice that maybe the purple butterfly is up at the top. Now you can't see the glue so much underneath where the heart is, but where I just added the green translucent heart, you can really see through that and see that there's glue. It looks kind of opaque. It's going to dry clear, and so I like it. It gives more texture than anything else. And I like just that little extra added touch for this butterfly canvas. So if this has inspired you to maybe try a paper crafting canvas, definitely let me know. Tag me over on Instagram or Facebook, because I would love to see your take on creating maybe some wall or craft studio art with your crafting supplies. And here are the little blue hearts, and I really wanted them to not take away from the design, so I purposely picked like a similar color to the ink color I used for the background. And I'm just going to scatter a few here and there. I didn't use a ton. Kind of tried to keep it minimal, and I know some of them I'm working down here along the bottom. Sorry, I'm out of frame. I will hold this up and show you what it looks like complete. And of course, there's photos here in the video at the beginning and at the end, as well as over on Instagram and my blog. And there we go, all finished. Oh, maybe not. I needed one more. Last minute decision. These triangle trays from Simon Says Stamp are amazing for funneling your embellishments back in the jar. Thank you guys so much for joining me today for my ink swatching video of Simon Says Stamp Positively Saturated Ink and the bonus butterfly canvas art project. The supplies I use to create my swatches and canvas are listed and linked below the video here on YouTube. I want to give a huge shout out and thank you to my Patreon members. If you would like to become a member of Patreon, please click the link in the description below. I would love to have you over there as a member of our community. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to my channel, click the like button, and don't forget to hit the notification bell to always be notified when I have a new paper crafting or card making video. Thank you for joining me today, and we'll see you next time.